Part 64. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 631. Xiaoxian. Be careful, this burning black snake formation is extremely powerful, and it contains some power of soul erosion, which is very scary. See the burning black snake formation appear again. Chen Meng quickly reminded, you need to stay calm and use the power of your soul to control it in order to resist the erosion. She was the one who fought Wang Ralong just now. She also knew the power and danger of the burning black snake formation, and quickly reminded Xiaoxian. Ridiculous. What kind of strength does a guy in the middle level of the spiritual god realm have to be so arrogant here? He just knows how powerful my formation is, so he should kneel down and beg for mercy. Wang Ralong sneered. In his opinion, Xiaoxian was still at the elementary level of the spiritual god realm a few days ago, although he had good luck recently and forcibly raised his level to the intermediate level of the spiritual god realm. But that's not a big deal. After all, the realm of Dao power may be forcibly improved through external elixirs, but the power of the soul can only be condensed slowly. How strong can the power of the soul be for Xiaoxian, who has just reached the middle level of the spiritual god realm? What's more, this time the burning black snake formation was given by Wang Ao and was extremely powerful. Even Chen Meng's 100 birds Kaolin formation was defeated. What could Xiaoxian do to him? In the end, most of them will be easily suppressed. By that time, if the burning black snake formation accidentally loses control, Xiaoxian's soul power will be damaged, then his path of cultivation will be over. What's wrong? Looking at what you mean, is it possible that you have other plans? If that's the case, don't blame me for being rude to you. Wang Ralong's face changed color. With all the power of his soul aroused, the giant snake in the burning black snake formation stood upright, its sharp fangs carrying endless wind sounds, and attacked Xiaoxian. Almost at the same time, the Taoist skills in Xiaoxian's hands changed, and the heaven and earth soul searching technique moved. In an instant, the power of the souls of all the practitioners on the fighting platform were suppressed. Under strong pressure, some cultivators with weak souls could no longer bear it and jumped directly from the fighting platform. Soon, even Chen Meng and Long Ruoxiu had sweat on their faces. There was uncontrollable fatigue on his face. Most people may not be very clear about this, but Xiaoxian understands that if the power of the soul is harmed, it may affect the practitioner's own bones. Thinking of this, Xiaoxian focused a little more on the power of the formation. The pressure on Chen Meng Long Ruoxiu's cultivators was immediately greatly reduced. On the contrary, Wang Ralong became anxious. He found that no matter how he activated the burning black snake formation, the giant black snake could not reach Xiaoxian. It's like there is a thick barrier in front of you. What's even more frightening is that Wang Ralong clearly feels that Xiaoxian's soul-searching formation of heaven and earth actually has the power to dissolve the fused soul. The strength he had worked hard to condense in the formation. Once it comes into contact with Xiaoxian's formation, a trace of the soul is gradually being dissolved. These soul powers seem subtle. But if accumulated like this, it is still a considerable force, and in the end, it is likely to affect the entire battle situation. Damn it! What the hell is this? Wang Ralong also frowned. He could feel that there were some unusual soul spells in Xiaoxian's formation. This seemed to be a technique he couldn't solve. It's interesting. Since you just put down your arrogance, take it out and take a look, Xiaoxian sneered, and the heaven and earth soul search array was activated again, and the surging power of the soul swept over instantly. You. Wang Ralong was shocked and afraid. He saw a majestic and powerful divine soul power, like an overwhelming ocean wave, directly attacking him. Faced with such a powerful force, he was directly involved before he could react. The next second, Wang Ralong spurted out a mouthful of blood. Then, he fell to the ground with a depressed expression, and the three disciples behind him dispersed. A group of people were talking about it. No matter who it was, on or off the stage, seeing this scene, everyone's face was filled with disbelief. Some people even placed bets to guess which side would win the final victory. Unexpectedly, Xiaoxian, a dark horse, actually created a miracle again. The eyes that looked at Xiaoxian again were a little more dignified. How can it be? Regarding these words of Xiaoxian, not to mention Professor Quota, I'm afraid they will all have to fight for their accommodation. Wang Ao's anger instantly filled up. He stood up and looked at the scene on the field with stern eyes, his face ashen. After all, professors come before selection. Professor selection. You actually won. Chen Meng's face was also a little solemn. She did not expect that Xiaoxian could actually win the battle. Otherwise, give up your place, Xiaoxian didn't care. As for the giant black snake in mid-air, it dissipated directly, as if it had never appeared. Unexpectedly, Xiaoxian won this time. Can you see clearly what method he used just now? So, senior brother Wang Rolong and senior sister Chen Meng both suffered losses, and the final winner turned out to be Xiaoxian. Good. Senior Chen Meng, I'm afraid we won't have to fight, right? Xiaoxian turned around and said to Chen Meng with a smile. I didn't see it clearly. It seems to be a strange formation. You win. Chen Meng raised his head, looked at Xiaoxian, bit his lip, and replied. Xiaoxian versus Wang Rolong, Xiaoxian wins. Ahem. They all fell down onto the fighting platform. Long Ruoxiu was stunned for a moment, then her face turned red and her heart felt warm. Of course, it is not ruled out that they can discuss with each other and take one each. So this time, our Wu Meng lineage will take the professorship, Xiaoxian continued. This is really unexpected. At that time, could it be that Xiaoxian already knew that he could win? She also knew very well that Xiaoxian's victory over Wang Rolong this time had indeed had the effect of reversing the situation. If Xiaoxian hadn't appeared, they would have been really unlucky. Chen Meng was also stunned, and then nodded helplessly. Only then did she realize that Xiaoxian's victory over Wang Rolong with such thunderous power not only won him a professorship, but also helped herself. Amazing. Fortunately, Xiaoxian showed up in time and managed to maintain their face. This, Xiaoxian, do we want both places? Before, Senior Chen Meng also contributed a lot. Long Ruoxiu hesitated. Basically everyone thinks that the professor's biggest competitors should be Chen Meng and Wang Rolong. Whoever wins will get 2 places. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 632. Dean Wang. Please announce the result of the game. Seeing Chen Meng and others walking off the fighting stage, Xiao Suanke said politely to Wang Ao. Wang Ao could clearly see what happened on the fighting stage. He never expected that such a situation would happen. Xiaoxian, you really have some tricks up your sleeve. I didn't expect that during the selection of professors, there would be a large formation to support me. It's beyond my expectation. Wang Ao looked indifferent, however, don't think that winning the battle arena means you can get a professorship. You also need to have 3 profound arts. This is natural. Xiaoxian nodded. Then show it and let me, the dean, see what your 3 profound Tao techniques are, Wang Ao added. If there are no 3 mysterious Dao techniques, or the level of the Tao techniques does not reach the Xian level, I still can't give you this professorship. Disciple is willing to obey. How could Xiaoxian not know that Wang Ao did this just to set up obstacles for him, and he would probably find fault with him, thinking of leaving the professor position to Wang Rolong. But such a calculation. To him, it was a bit ridiculous. To be serious, Xiaoxian is also a very talented practitioner. He has long been familiar with the three profound arts. Pure Yang sword technique. Yin Yang stealth technique. Heaven and earth soul searching technique. After the three occult arts were displayed, he looked calm and bowed to Wang Ao, wanting to see what other faults he could find. How can this soul technique be regarded as a mystical art? But the last Taoist art is not. Wang Ao shook his head. If that's the case, this professor position cannot be given to you. What? Is there something wrong with Dean Wang Ao's move? Xiao Xian frowned. He could imagine that Wang Ao would definitely find trouble, but he really didn't expect that he would actually use this method to cause trouble for him. There is no need for you to say anything about the dean's work. Wang Ao's face suddenly darkened. If you don't have other mystical skills, just step away. This, Dean Wang Ao is really overbearing. Does he want to drive Xiao Xian out of the professor's selection? Incredible. If that's the case, doesn't it mean that the selection of professors needs to be reselected? But this soul fighting technique is obviously a kind of mystical art, yet Dean Wang Ao refuses to recognize it. Is it possible that Wang Ralong is forced to be promoted to the position of dean? Wang Ao's words. It instantly aroused discussion among the freshmen. However, discussions were discussions, and they still didn't say too much. After all, if Wang Aojin refused Xiao Xian to become a professor, they might not have a chance. What this means is, if I learn another occult art, can I become a professor? Xiao Xian smiled slightly. Dare I ask, is this the promise of Dean Wang Ao? When he said this, not only the freshmen were surprised, but also Wang Ao looked at him with strange eyes. For the freshmen of Qinghua College, generally speaking, one can master one mysterious technique, but mastering two is considered a relatively rare and outstanding disciple. Sandao is almost comparable to Lao's Hung. As for the four paths, this is almost impossible. This is also Wang Ao's purpose. As long as he vetoes Xiao Xian's Xiandao technique, he takes it for granted that Xiao Xian cannot do anything else. Under such circumstances, he also naturally pushed Wang Ralong or Chen Meng to run again. But who knew that Xiao Xian was not an ordinary outstanding disciple, but a talented disciple like a monster? Wuji swordsmanship. The silver Sirius sword is like a fish swimming in the sky and the yin and yang of heaven and earth. Every move carries the power of both strength and gentleness. It caused gusts of wind and countless sword shadows. This is also a mysterious technique. Xiao Xian turned out to be the master of the four mysterious Taoist techniques. After seeing this scene, Wang Ao couldn't help but frown, even though he had expected Xiao Xian to be extremely talented. But he never imagined that Xiao Xian's talent would reach such an extent. Dean Wang, I don't know, but now I am not qualified to be a professor at Qinghua College. After using the last move of Wuji Kendo, Xiao Xian put away the Sirius sword and asked Wang Ao. Snort. It's just a few mystical arts. Although in the spiritual God realm, you can have 3 or 4 profound arts and have some considerable strength, but really speaking, with your little strength, you are not at all worthy of being proud of. Wang Ao sneered, the professorship is yours. Thank you, Dean Wang, for reminding me. This disciple must devote himself to cultivation and strive to improve his strength as soon as possible. Xiao Xian smiled. To have such thoughts, I have a bit of Qinghua College's demeanor. Wang Ao smiled half-heartedly, and he didn't know if he really approved of him. But then again, the strength of the spiritual God realm is far inferior to that of the blue God realm. Such a gap in realm cannot be made up by a few mystical arts. After Wang Ao finished speaking, he turned around and left. What he said was unintentional, but the listener was interested. Xiao Xian also knew that although what Wang Ao said was unpleasant, it was also a warning and reminder to him. Spiritual God realm, blue God realm. Although there is only one realm difference, it exists like a chasm. To be honest, even if Xiao Xian has the position of professor, if he wants to have more say in Qinghua College and even in the Mingzhou realm, he still needs to improve his strength to the Kangshen realm as soon as possible. This way, his words can be convincing. Only in this way will he be more qualified to participate in the baptism of Tianyuan in the Mingzhou realm, and be closer to the core road of the Dao continent. This has also been Xiao Xian's purpose all along. It's a bit interesting. I didn't expect that you could still have this ability. In this case, when the battle for the new generation of Mingzhou domain comes, don't lose face. At this time, Wang Rolong suddenly said with a gloomy expression. The battle between new students. Xiao Xian sneered and said, "Thank you for reminding me, senior brother. If what I expected is correct, you failed in the professor selection just now. You'd better go back and cultivate yourself now. If I accidentally get the root of the disease, I'm afraid my future cultivation path will be ruined. Then I won't bother you to worry about it." Wang Rolong's face was livid when Xiao Xian opened his scars in front of him. "In that case, don't blame me for being rude to you." Finish this sentence. He also left directly with Mu Xiaolong, Du Ling, and others beside him. However, anyone with a discerning eye can see that Wang Rolong's inner anger has probably reached its peak after being slapped in the face twice by Xiao Xian. No one needs to say more. In the next freshman battle, Wang Rolong will definitely use all his methods to deal with Xiao Xian. And Xiao Xian experienced 2 successes. He has become vaguely the most talented and dazzling new student in Qinghua College and even the Mingzhou realm. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 633. Let's go. Let's go back to. Seeing Wang Rolong leaving in anger. Xiao Xian also knew that today he had completely offended this number 1 young person in Mingzhou domain. But to him, this matter is not worth paying attention to at all. Since he was promoted to the middle level of the spiritual god realm, Wang Rolong no longer seems to be an invincible figure. What's more, judging from the previous situation, Wang Rolong is similar to Wang Ao. He is a sanctimonious guy. He looks the same on the surface but doesn't look the same behind his back. After the last 2 losses, most of them already hated him in their hearts. Even if Xiao Xian took the initiative to show his kindness, I'm afraid it would have no effect. It would be better to regard Wang Rolong as his opponent directly to inspire his future practice. Of course, in Xiao Xian's heart, guys like Wang Rolong can only be used as stepping stones at best. Wu and Meng lineage, barren mountains. Wu Meng also smiled rarely when he learned that Ben Mei had won the professor selection and received 2 professorships. It's really good. Master, I heard that in this professor selection, it was junior brother Xiao Xian who used a large formation to directly suppress the entire audience and won the victory. Wang Tai also said with emotion, I never thought before that junior brother Xiao Xian's soul power would be so powerful. The soul formation. It seems that Master has used a lot of tricks for this professor selection. During the professor selection, Meng Xiaoli thought that Xiao Xian Long Ruoxiu would probably not have a good outcome, so she did not go to the battlefield. She was a little confused when she received the news now. It was taken for granted that Wu Meng should have brought out some large formations for Xiao Xian. This allowed the latter to stand out in the selection. No, the methods Xiao Xian used were all learned by him, and his teacher did not give him any help. Wu Meng interrupted Meng Xiaoli. In this case, junior brother Xiao Xian actually defeated Wang Rolong with his own strength. Wang Tai and Meng Xiaoqian couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. Wang Tai saw clearly at that time that when Wang Rolong inspired the Black Snake, even standing outside the fighting platform, he could feel a strong negative emotion in his soul. One can imagine how much pressure the freshmen were under. Under such circumstances, Maybe people with average soul power will not be able to withstand the pressure early on, and will withdraw from the selection directly, or even the soul will be damaged. But Xiao Xian not only withstood such strong pressure. Still in the big formation, using his own big formation, and finally turning defeat into victory, this kind of mind and strength is definitely not something ordinary people can do. It's up to you. Is it possible, Xiao Xian, that you actually won this professor selection by relying on your own strength? Meng Xiaoli understood and was equally shocked. I don't dare, I just won by luck. Xiao Xian's attitude remained calm, and he was not proud of defeating Wang Rolong. Good. Ordinary freshmen definitely don't have such strength. Wu Meng nodded and said, Xiao Xian, you can achieve such an achievement at such an age, but it is also a great thing for you. Thank you Master Wu for the compliment. Xiao Xian was also respectful. However, you only have some power in the power of the soul. What do you think about the upcoming battle for new life? Speaking of business, Wu Meng's face became solemn. You have to know that this battle for freshmen is not just within the scope of Qinghua College, but the entire Mingzhou territory. Hearing this, Meng Xiaoli nodded helplessly. What a pity. If Master, you could take a further step forward, we wouldn't have to be so passive at Qinghua College. Hiss. Xiao Xian and others also looked solemn. The freshman behind Xiao Xian suddenly became energetic. The winner of the battle for new life will get the opportunity to be tested in Qinglian Valley. You little girl, you are so whimsical. Wu Meng smiled and said, besides, if there is such a thing, it will also make the masters of the Kang God realm or even the Golden God realm excited, and it may not be possible for my teacher to get it. The Blazing Wind sect, Snow Wolf sect, Kanglong Academy of the Kanglong Empire and some other powerful sects in the netherworld will participate. This time it's not just Wang Tai and Meng Xiaoli. The last victory over Wang Rolong and Mu Xiaolong obviously gave them great confidence, and they all stood up and expressed their opinions. According to the investigation of several elders from the Mingzhou realm, the main targets of Qinglian Valley this time are the cultivators of the spiritual god realm. Cultivators above the Kangshen realm cannot enter. Wu Meng said seriously, this is also a decision made by the top management of Mingzhou. Hear what Wu Meng said. Doesn't it mean that something good will indeed come out this time? At that point, it can be said that you can fly between heaven and earth at will, and travel through the universe at will. Hear the news. Good. Ha ha ha. These are all things for later. But if he could understand it earlier, it would naturally be a good thing for him. Qinglian Valley. Although based on his current strength, there is no way he can interact with the higher UPS of Mingzhou realm. However, this new student battle is actually divided into two parts. One is within our Qinghua Academy, and the other is within the Mingzhou territory. Now, even Wu Meng values this so-called secret treasure so much. So, this Qinglian Valley is also good for our freshmen. Xiao Xian roughly heard what Wu Meng said. Since there is a battle for freshmen and the number of participating freshmen has to be decided, this is obvious. It means that Qinglian Valley will send new students there. Yes, it was opened early this time because a secret treasure was born. Wu Meng's face was solemn. The treasure from heaven is something that only a saint can create. How could it appear casually? This was the first time in such a long time that he heard news about the top leaders of Mingzhou domain. In this case, are we also qualified to enter? Xiao Xian couldn't help but feel slightly moved. Even Wang Tai and Meng Xiaoli had excited expressions on their faces. Didn't you say that Qinglian Valley will be opened only once every 10 years? Why is it opened in advance this time? Could it be that? You know, Wu Meng is one of the top 3 beings in the Blue God realm of Qinghua Academy, and he is very likely to go one step further in the future and become a master of the Golden God realm. I dare to ask Master Wu, what will appear in Qinglian Valley this time? Is it possible that it will be something like a treasure? Meng Xiaoli's eyes were full of desire, If this is the case, you may go one step further and step into the Golden God realm. Wu Meng nodded and said, our Qinghua College will send out a mixed lineup of old students and freshmen. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 634. You are right. New students are indeed qualified to enter the Qinglian Valley, but they must also go through selection, and they will most likely need to be selected together with the old students. See the excitement on the faces of the new students. Wu Meng poured cold water on them. Compete with old students. Moreover, are freshmen competing with old students? After hearing these words, all the freshmen were stunned and couldn't believe what Wu Meng said. You must know that the reason why Qinghua Academy is extremely powerful and famous in the Mingzhou realm. It's because Qinghua Academy has enough training resources. As long as you enter it, no matter how poor your training talent is, you can still get a lot of improvement. Therefore, the senior students of Qinghua College are generally stronger than the freshmen. For example, if a freshman leader like Wang Rulong is placed among the old students, he would be in the middle or even lower reaches. It is said that in Qinghua College, some powerful old students have already touched the threshold of the Blue God realm. If they take a step further, they will be able to enter the Blue God realm. Now I heard that if I want to enter Qinglian Valley, I have to compete with Lao's Hung. All the freshmen suddenly felt a little frustrated. Of course, I don't want you to compete with the top figures among the old students. Seeing the loss of a group of disciples, Wu Meng also said, as long as you can reach the average level of the old students, you will have a chance to enter the Qinglian Valley. Middling, Xiaoxian frowned. This is also the biggest concession the college has made to motivate new students. Wu Meng smiled bitterly. You must know that this Qinglian Valley is one of the most important trial places in the Mingzhou territory. Even if our Qinghua Academy does not get many places, you must understand this. For these words, Xiaoxian and Long Ruoxiu can naturally understand. The land of geniuses and treasures must be extremely precious, and it is also a place where major sects compete with each other. Qinghua College is able to arrange places for their new students, which is considered very important. If they push further, I'm afraid it will be a bit unjustifiable. However, you freshmen don't have to give up on yourselves. The dean has also considered the strength gap between you and the old students, so he will not send top old students to compete with you. Wu Meng explained, at most, they are some middle-level disciples, most of whom are at the high level of the spiritual God realm. They only know 2 or 3 mystical arts. The more he said these words, the less confident he became. For a moment, he didn't know what to explain. After all, the 2 conditions he mentioned now are not something that ordinary freshmen can achieve. High-level spiritual God realm, 3 profound arts, plus not weak power of the soul. Practitioners with these abilities, no matter from any perspective, it can be considered a not weak existence in the Mingzhou realm. It is naturally even more difficult for freshmen like them to compete for the qualifications to enter the Qinglian Valley from these people. So to say, this Qinglian Valley still requires a little effort to get through, right? Xiaoxian smiled bitterly, but this is good, it just allows me to see how strong these old students are. Say it. The faces of the people next to me were a little strange. Even Long Ruoxiu frowned slightly and looked at him in confusion. You know, no matter how amazing and talented the new students are, it will not take them long to enter Qinghua College. Therefore, they will not have too much time to receive education from Qinghua College. In this way, there is naturally a huge gap between them and the old students. Under such circumstances, ordinary freshmen will feel a lot of psychological pressure when facing old students. Who knew that Xiaoxian was not afraid when he heard these words? Instead, are you challenged? Isn't that a little too confident? Ahem. Junior brother Xiaoxian, it is a good thing that you have such a mentality, but you must not let down your guard because of this. Wang Tai persuaded, Qinglian Valley has many benefits, and both new and old students will try their best to get them. So, I wonder what level a new student like Wang Rulong and Mu Xiaolong is among the old students. Long Ruoxiu and Qingli looked at each other and couldn't help but ask. They can only be regarded as the weaker ones among the old students, Meng Xiaoli said. What? Wang Rulong can be said to be the most talented among the freshmen, but even he can only be ranked lower among the old students. If this is true, wouldn't we ordinary freshmen be ineligible to enter? Too difficult. After Meng Xiaoli's words, the freshmen immediately complained, and whatever confidence Wu Meng had just inspired disappeared. However, they soon set their sights on Xiaoxian and Long Ruoxiu. Before today, they might have doubted the abilities of the two of them, but today Xiaoxian defeated Wang Rulong's formation alone. They don't think so. No matter what, Xiaoxian's methods on the fighting stage actually happened before their eyes, which they could not deny. With this situation, they naturally thought that Xiaoxian and Long Ruoxiu might be new students who had the opportunity to enter the Qinglian Valley. Xiaoxian, Long Ruoxiu, the battle for rebirth will begin in half a month. You must seize the time to practice in these half months. Wu Meng said, now that you have the qualifications of a professor, you no longer need to live in a wooden house on a barren mountain. I can help you apply for Daolan Cave. Of course, there is also the opportunity to practice at Daoshi Mountain once a day. Daoshi Mountain. Hear what Wu Meng said. Wang Tai and Meng Xiaoli both looked envious. Dao Stone Mountain is the largest cultivation resource in Qinghua Academy. The power of the Dao is strong inside. If you practice here, you can comprehend the Dao several times faster than outside. Generally, senior students of Qinghua Academy only have the opportunity to gain enlightenment once every 3 days, and they can only be on the periphery. Only professors or elders are eligible to enter. Thank you, Master Wu. Xiaoxian and Long Ruoxiu also quickly thanked them for these opportunities. These are what you deserve, and they have nothing to do with me. You don't want to thank me. Wu Meng smiled slightly. However, you have gained face for my lineage, and you will naturally be rewarded as a teacher. Soul Fire Pearl. This is a fire spirit bead that enhances the power of the soul. I see that you are all practitioners with strong soul power. This bead can help you comprehend the Great Road in Daoshi Mountain. As Wu Meng said, 2 red beads appeared in front of Xiaoxian and Long Ruoxiu. Thank you, Master Wu. Xiaoxian just glanced at the fire spirit bead and clearly felt that there was a layer of precious fire spirit power on it. Obviously, this should be a mysterious level spiritual treasure. I don't know how many times more powerful than the colorful and exquisite little tower in the Wanbao Pavilion of the Kanglong Empire. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 635. See Wu Meng giving treasures to Xiaoxian and Long Ruoxiu. Even Wang Tai and Meng Xiaoli looked envious. Wu Meng's lineage has always been weak compared to other lines, so Wu Meng rarely rewards his disciples with treasures. Today Wu Meng directly took out the Soul Fire Spirit Pearl. It also made many disciples sigh with emotion. It turned out that their master Wu Meng did not lack various treasures and spiritual weapons, nor did he lose his desire to compete with other blood types. It's just that for such a long time, I rarely get the right opportunities. As long as a disciple makes a contribution or achieves something, Wu Meng will reward him with various items without hesitation. This naturally greatly enhanced the confidence of the disciples. All right. Do you have any other questions? Wu Meng looked at Xiaoxian and Long Ruoxiu with a smile. Xiaoxian and Long Ruoxiu looked at each other, but they had no other questions. Then Xiaoxian asked, Master Wu seemed to have said something just now, a high-level person in the Mingzhou realm. I don't know what kind of existence this is. High-level executives of Mingzhou realm. What? Are you interested in this? After hearing Xiao Xian's question, Wu Meng also frowned slightly and couldn't help but say, "This is an organization formed by all the powerful people in our Mingzhou territory, specifically for the internal management of the Mingzhou territory. These people are all in the Kangshen realm, and their daily duties are to mediate conflicts between forces, allocate resources and mansions, select young disciples and other matters. It can be said that the existence of this high-level person has also contributed to the stability of the Mingzhou territory." What? Are you interested in this organization? I'm a little curious now, but there's one more thing I'm interested in, that is, what kind of existence is the Jinjing dynasty and the outer territory Tianyu? Xiao Xian continued to ask, what is the difference between them and the higher UPS of the Mingzhou territory? This is something from another continent. However, they are not on the same level. Upon hearing this question, Wu Meng's face suddenly became serious. Then, that's all. Xiao Xian opened his mouth, but finally closed it. He originally wanted to ask what kind of strength he should achieve if he wanted to go to the outer world. Wu Meng's last words can be heard. He also understood that there was probably an answer to this question without even having to ask it. There is no doubt that the outer territory Tianyu is richer than the Mingzhou territory and even the eastern wilderness continent, and the strength within it is naturally much stronger. If he wants to go to this place, he needs to be strong enough. Are you planning to go to the outer world? Wu Meng sighed, and he roughly guessed Xiao Xian's plan. Good. Since people from outside the Tianyu can come to our eastern wilderness continent at will, why can't we go? Xiao Xian gritted his teeth when he thought of what it was like to grow old at that time. It's a good thing that you have such an idea. Wu Meng nodded slightly. As a professor of Qinghua College, he has seen many amazing and talented disciples, but there are also many disciples who are practicing. The reason for losing confidence and endurance is the lack of goals and confidence to become stronger. Xiao Xian also followed the others and planned to go out, but he and Long Ruoxiu were stopped by Wu Meng. What? Didn't my master say that I would take you to receive a Daolan cave mansion? Didn't you forget it so quickly? That's it for today. If you have such a heart, your future achievements will be immeasurable. Mr. Wu Meng's eyes showed relief. Everything I have lost, I will regain in my own way. Since Xiao Xian defeated Wang Ralong twice in succession, no one thought that his strength was only at the middle level of the spiritual god realm. Even Meng Xiaoli, who had always been cold, glanced at Xiao Xian with deep meaning. Maybe the words in this are simple. When you really face a strong enemy, you have to pay more. Wang Tai and Meng Xiaoli looked at each other and looked at Xiao Xian with sympathy. Junior brother Xiao Xian, actually there are some things that people at our level cannot decide. Don't feel too guilty. Tomorrow, I will take you to Daoshi Mountain. Say it. From this demeanor and posture, it can be roughly seen that Xiao Xian seems to be a person who has experienced strong winds and waves. Xiao Xian looked serious. I don't care what kind of existence he is or what level he is. Even if the great Luo Saint comes, I will kill him with one sword. Qing Li and Long Ruoxiu looked at each other, and at the same time looked at Xiao Xian with admiration. Daolan Cave Mansion? This is... Xiao Xian was stunned. The freshmen and old students present also bowed one after another and walked out of the meeting hall. Wu Meng was a little embarrassed. It's just that our lineage has never had a professor, so this kind of place has been occupied by other lines. Now that our lineage finally has a professor, I have to ask for these resources back as a teacher. But the road ahead remains difficult. The words were spoken in a low voice. Seeing that everyone was looking at Xiao Xian thoughtfully, Wu Meng also smiled and said, practice is extremely difficult. If you are afraid because of the suffering ahead, you will not leave even if your future is worrying. It's further away. This is a place to improve your cultivation speed and enlightenment. How do you say this? Xiao Xian did not expect Wu Meng to say this. Even if something big happens. But no one present looked down upon him. I hope your tenacity will not dissipate soon. It's nothing. It's just telling you that if you want to get strong enough power, you must put in more effort, Wu Meng said with a smile. Guilt is useless. They have known Xiao Xian for a long time, and they know that he is a tough person and will not be knocked down easily. But he could say this categorically. You must know that Xiao Xian is still just a cultivator in the spiritual realm. Even in the small Wu Meng lineage, he is not considered a top disciple. It's a small thing, we've heard about it too. You know, the current Xiao Xian is only at the middle level of the spiritual god realm. In terms of pure realm, he is not even as good as Long Ruoxiu beside him. It seems that he is always calm and calm. This is enough to prove that he is definitely a very determined and confident person. However, they all know that the road Xiao Xian will take next will be extremely difficult and full of dangers. But the people present were instantly silent, and they all looked at him in disbelief. Long Ruoxiu and Xing Li also looked at Xiao Xian with regret. Yes, junior brother Xiao Xian, I am willing to believe you too, Wang Tai patted Xiao Xian on the shoulder. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 636. I see. If it can really improve the speed of cultivation and enlightenment of the Dao, this is really a good place. Xiao Xian also nodded slightly. At the same time, he suddenly felt a little confused. May I ask Master Wu, according to the selection conditions for professors, senior brother Wang Tai and senior sister Meng Xiaoli may also be eligible to participate. Why do we have no professors in our lineage? Mysticism is precious though. But Wang Tai and Meng Xiaoli were able to become the leading disciples in Wu Meng's lineage. Their talents are naturally not weak. Under such circumstances, they may have already mastered a few mysterious techniques. But why has there never been a professor in the Wu and Meng lineage? You have misunderstood. Master the 3 profound arts and choose 2 professors, 1 male and 1 female, among the freshmen. This condition is only for freshmen. Wu Meng smiled and shook his head. If I want to run for professor, in addition to possessing 5 or more mysterious skills, I must also raise the power of the soul to above the intermediate level. This. Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu couldn't help but be stunned. This is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that the strength must reach the peak of the spiritual god realm and touch the threshold of the blue god realm. Wu Meng smiled bitterly and shook his head. To achieve such a condition at the same time, this person is almost. We have already half-stepped into the blue god realm, and even in our Qinghua Academy, there are only a few people. I see. Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu also smiled bitterly and shook their heads. Although there is only one word difference between the blue god realm and the spiritual god realm. But really speaking, the gap between the two realms is still very big. After countless geniuses reached the peak of the spiritual god realm, they just lacked an opportunity and were unable to break through this barrier in their lifetime. Even so, countless powerful sects regard cultivators at the peak of the spiritual snake realm as treasures. I just hope that such people can break through this barrier one day and bring enough strength improvement to their sect. And all this. It is indeed something that may happen. So, I dare to ask Master Wu, how many professors are there in Qinghua College now? Long Ruoxiu asked. 12. You two are the 13th and 14th. Wu Meng smiled and said, I hope that after you enter the ranks of professors, you will not lose the reputation of our lineage. It's natural. Master Wu, please rest assured. Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu naturally promised one after another. After hearing this, Wu Meng chuckled and said, Don't worry, I'm just talking casually. After you become a professor, there will be various competitions in the college. You just need to be yourselves. The professors at King Hua College are also talented people. You just need to deal with some things indifferently. If it doesn't work, just come to me again. Yes. Xiao Xian was stunned. Regarding Wu Meng's character, he also knew something. Although he was calm on the surface, he was also a hateful person in his heart. At that time, he was attacked by Wang Ao. Even though he knew that Wang Ao was the most powerful dean of King Hua College, Wu Meng still went to ask for an explanation, and finally found him a treasure to repair the soul. Although the hardships were not mentioned, Xiao Xian could also understand that it must not be an easy task. But now Wu Meng's words surprised him. Wu Meng actually let them deal with some things calmly. Is it possible that after becoming a professor, I will still encounter a lot of troubles? Or will they encounter something that makes them feel uncomfortable? A cloud of doubt appeared in my heart. But Xiao Xian secretly looked at Wu Meng and found that the latter had no intention of explaining the matter, so he stopped asking any more questions. He also understands. No matter how you say it, Wu Meng is now his master. If Wu Meng doesn't want to say something, he won't get the answer even if he asks again. What's more, there are some problems that he needs to find himself. I didn't expect that our King Hua College would have so many professors. This is really amazing. Long Ruoxiu asked, are these all selected from old students? Good. Even among these 12 cultivators at the peak of the spiritual god realm, only half, or even 1/3 of them have become masters of the blue god realm. If Xiao Xian wants to survive, he has to use his trump card, the long river of time. He is also a smart man, so he can naturally understand the meaning behind Wu Meng's words. It seems that Wu Meng is dissatisfied with some things at King Hua College. After thinking about it, Xiao Xian looked at Wu Meng with a little doubt in his eyes. Could it be that just because his lineage is the weakest in King Hua College, he has received some discrimination or targeting? Why is Wu Meng dissatisfied with King Hua Academy? The Long family is able to control some say in the Mingzhou territory because there is a master of the Blue God realm sitting in charge. Long Ruoxiu couldn't help but sigh. After hearing this, Long Ruoxiu also nodded one after another. As a disciple of the Long family, he also knew what kind of master the Blue God realm was. That being the case. Not to mention, Wu Meng is undoubtedly powerful in terms of strength and status within King Hua Academy. Wu Meng said with a smile. Such a character, no matter where he is placed, is a first-class strong man. And now, in King Hua Academy, there are actually more than a dozen practitioners who have the opportunity to become Blue God Realm practitioners. This is enough to show how profound the foundation of King Hua Academy is. It doesn't matter. The first 12 people are all at the peak of the spiritual God realm. They are only a hair away from the Blue God realm. Is this what Wu Meng really thinks in his heart? It's normal for you to have such thoughts now, but I feel that you will soon change your thoughts. But now, one King Hua Academy can have so many peak spiritual gods. It's really impressive. In this case, then the strength of King Hua Academy can also be greatly improved. Wu Meng suddenly turned around and looked at Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu with a smile, with a bit more complicated emotions in his eyes. Wu Meng affirmed. Xiao Xian glanced at Long Ruoxiu and couldn't help being stunned. Xiao Xian also nodded. For these words. It can be said that if Wu Meng had not been present at that time, Wang Ao would have been too afraid to take action directly. It seems that there is a reason why King Hua Academy has been able to stand in the Mingzhou territory for so many years. Or is it just a test for him? But even so, he still felt a great life crisis. You know, Wu Meng is the dean of King Hua College and can be regarded as a loyal minister of King Hua College. Do you still recognize King Hua Academy? And he is still a master of the Kangshen realm who is not weak. He had seen Wang Ao, a master of the Blue God realm, make an attack. Even though it was just a trace of divine soul power, it was more of a warning than an attack. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 637. Hearing what Wu Meng said, Xiao Xian also felt cold all over his body. Change one's mind? Logically speaking, he is a student of Qinghua College, and Wu Meng is the branch dean of Qinghua College. They all enjoyed some of the benefits of Qinghua Academy. I should have been grateful to Qinghua College, but now, Wu Meng actually said that they would change their minds. Is it possible that Qinghua College is not a college worthy of gratitude? As soon as this idea appeared, Xiao Xian was naturally shocked and surprised, and even broke into a cold sweat. For him, for such a long time, although Qinghua College has not received any tangible benefits, but it can also be felt. Qinghua Academy is a place with a lot of cultivation background. Some cave heaven paradises and cultivation resources are relatively abundant, not to mention that there are masters like Wu Meng in the Kenshen realm as teachers. It can be said that as long as you stay at Qinghua College, he can feel the strong power of the Great Dao, and can also gain more insights into the Great Dao. With such power, ordinary people may not be ignorant of the truth and circumstances. Master Wu, what are you going to do? Looking at what you mean, do you mean that after we stay at Qinghua College for a while, we will change our minds on this aspect? Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask, so, there are some unknown secrets in Qinghua Academy? Hearing Xiao Xian's question, Long Ruoxiu and Wu Meng both looked at him strangely. However, although Wu Meng glanced at him, he didn't say much. He just smiled and stopped explaining. I won't say more about the specific situation. Wu Meng shook his head slightly. What I believe is that sooner or later, you will know what I mean. Yes. Yes. For these words, Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu both knew little about it. But after all, these words were said by Wu Meng, and they couldn't object. In the end, they could only nod, which was regarded as agreement. When Wu Meng saw the two of them like this, he smiled inexplicably. It's hard to tell what he is thinking. Not long after, under the leadership of Wu Meng, Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu came to a place where the aura of the avenue was extremely strong. I saw lines of auspicious aura flowing through the mountains, like big rivers flowing. This is where Daolan Cave Mansion is located. Elder Lihuo, today I am here to receive 2 Daolan caves. After Wu Meng arrived, he directly faced a cave and explained his wishes. Dean Wu Meng, will your lineage also be assigned to Daolan Cave Mansion? A rough voice came from inside the cave. Then, a muscular man with red hair and a red beard came out. Yes, this time we have 2 freshmen becoming professors, so come and receive 2 Daolan Cave Mansion. Wu Meng got straight to the point. Impossible. Daolan Cave Mansion is an extremely precious resource of our Qinghua College. How can we give it to anyone casually? Elder Lihuo squinted his eyes at Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu. Are these 2 freshmen qualified to be professors? You can ask Dean Kang Long whether they are qualified to be professors. Wu Meng frowned slightly, but today, you must open Daolan Cave to me. Excuse me. Although you are the dean, without Dean Kang Long, I would not be able to open Daolan Cave. The threat to Wu Meng. Elder Lihuo looked confident. According to the previous rules, even if a professor appears among the freshmen, it should be from Wang Ao's lineage and Bai Sheng's lineage, and has nothing to do with others. Say it. Even Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu roughly understood it. This elder Lihuo is obviously an elder, but he has the courage to go against a branch dean like Wu Meng. The greatest confidence lies in the support of someone behind him. The people who supported him turned out to be Wang Ao and Bai Sheng. So, you, Elder Lihuo, really don't plan to allocate Daolan Cave Mansion to my Wu Meng lineage? Wu Meng's face was gloomy. Although this is your freedom, I want to remind you in advance that if the dean knows what you did today, I am afraid that your identity as an elder will be lost. After saying this, Wu Meng turned around and left. I think this matter was ruined by the two of them. So, in the end, this matter was settled. It seems we are in trouble again. If the matter really gets serious and Wu Meng is asked to bring the matter to Dean Kang Long, Elder Lihuo will also be miserable. Finally he was stopped. The state has national laws, and families have family rules. You know what's going on. Wu Meng frowned slightly, and he also understood that conflicts with people like Elder Lihuo would not lead to good results in the end. From the rules of Qinghua College, maybe there will be a steady stream of trouble in the future. He had even thought about what reasons he would use to excuse Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu if they came. Elder Lihuo looked at Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu with a gloomy face. That's it? Interesting. It turned out that just before, he had collected some cultivation resources from Mu Xiaolong, a disciple of Bai Sheng's lineage, and asked him to keep Daolan Cave for a while. Facing the newly born Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu, Elder Lihuo may have some shady means to detain Daolan Cave Mansion. Elder Lihuo is responsible for controlling the cultivation resources of some colleges such as Daolan Cave Mansion, although he does not have the power to allocate resources to others at will. This was beyond his expectation. For the sake of Mu Xiaolong's resources, Elder Lihuo originally planned to delay for a while. In the end, I could only glare hard at Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu. Just like now, Elder Lihuo is just an elder after all, while Dean Wu Meng is a dean with a line of disciples under him. You two, please come this way. Who knew that the last person who came to Daolan Cave to look for him was Wu Meng? Not even giving it to Xiao Xian and the others for a short time. Perhaps Elder Lihuo could make things difficult for Wu Meng, but in the end he would never dare to really break his skin. The corners of Xiao Xian's mouth raised slightly. The identities of the two are completely different. Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu looked at each other, their faces a little strange. They could imagine that because their lineage was weak, they would inevitably be discriminated against in Qinghua College. But you can find some reason to temporarily withhold it for a period of time. Xiao Xian can understand this. Although he didn't know why Elder Lihuo targeted him specifically, he could also see clearly that Elder Lihuo was dissatisfied with him. I think Dean Wu Meng is also an honest person. Since I have brought my disciples here today, I'd better give Dean Wu some face. However, Elder Lihuo made things difficult for Wu Meng. But facing Wu Meng, who was also a veteran, he was at his wit's end, and in the end even couldn't speak. It's even reached the point where you can't even get the rewards you deserve. Didn't you expect that you would be discriminated against so much? Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 638. Elder Wu Meng. The resource center of the college lies ahead. According to the college's regulations, as the branch dean of the college, you are not allowed to enter. Elder Lihuo was frustrated just now, but now he looked at Wu Meng with a smile, and said with a thorn in his words, I believe that Elder Wu Meng knows the rules, right? Know the rules. Say this. Even Xiao Xian could hear the meaning behind the words. Lihuo just reminded Wu Meng not to get too involved in the affairs of Daolan Cave. Although what he said was reasonable. But anyone with a discerning eye can see that when he said this, he was clearly targeting Wu Meng, and even Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu. As the branch dean of the college, I naturally understand the rules of the college. I just don't know. As the elder in charge of the important resources of the college, can Elder Lihuo know these situations? Wu Meng is not a soft persimmon who is easy to bully. At this time, facing the arrogant and domineering Elder Lihuo in front of him, he was naturally unwilling to be outdone. Now I can tell Elder Lihuo that for some things, don't stretch your hands too long and don't be too courageous. You, Elder Lihuo's face turned red instantly. Wu Meng stopped talking and didn't say much. But Elder Lihuo, who was inside, could naturally understand what Wu Meng meant. Didn't this mean that he had taken something he shouldn't have taken? Although Qinghua Academy is not the royal family, but Dean Kanglong is also extremely repulsive to corruption, and specially sets up punishment elders like Lei Hongming to punish erring college members. Don't say that Elder Lihuo is just an ordinary elder. Even the branch dean will be severely punished if he does something wrong. Although Wu Meng said these words lightly, they really frightened Elder Lihuo so much that he couldn't even speak in the end. See the latter's reaction. Wu Meng then laughed and left with satisfaction. However, although he left, Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu next to him knew they were suffering. Both of them were Wu Meng's disciples. Although he became a professor. But next, they still have to be under the jurisdiction of Elder Agni. It's good now, nothing happened yet, but Wu Meng offended Elder Lihuo, although Xiao Xian didn't care about a mere Elder Lihuo. But the latter is also a master of the Blue God realm. If he wants to find trouble with Xiao Xian in the future, things will really be a bit troublesome. It's really interesting. When did an ordinary person in the spiritual realm actually have the ability to come here? Facing Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu in front of him, Elder Lihuo naturally had a look of ridicule on his face. I wonder what makes these two professors so good? Could it be that Cheng Cheng wants to become a professor of Qinghua College with a few mystical skills? Is this teaching someone else? Elder Lihuo is a master of the Blue God realm. At this time, after sizing up Xiao Xian, he said disdainfully, not to mention, as a middle-level spiritual God realm, with your level, how can you enjoy the supreme and wonderful functions of Daolan Cave? I wonder what Elder Lihuo means. Xiao Xian smiled slightly. Daolan Cave is the most precious cultivation resource of our Qinghua Academy. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is the treasure of the Academy. Such resources should naturally be given to those who need it most. Elder Lihuo paused for a moment and looked at Xiao Xian. I think you are currently at the middle level of the spiritual God realm and cannot take advantage of the benefits of Daolan Cave for the time being. Why don't I give you some other rewards? Don't use Dao for the time being, Lindong Mansion. Elder Agni is a smart man. He didn't dare to negotiate any terms with Wu Meng, but seeing that Xiao Xian was only at the middle level of the spiritual God realm, he had some independent thoughts in his heart. I thought that if I could trick Xiao Xian into giving up Daolan Cave for the time being, I would be able to give an explanation to Mu Xiaolong. Something else. Elder Lihuo's face turned livid with anger. Since you don't take me as an elder seriously, then I will definitely let you know that not everything in this world is decided by you. At least, among professors, you have to bear some unusual pressure. Okay, okay. He was also unconvinced by Elder Lihuo's words. Xiao Xian smiled slightly. Your name is Xiao Xian, right? I remember everything today. As for the real ability, it may be just ordinary, and it may not be that powerful. Seeing that things were promising, Elder Lihuo quickly took out a pill from his pocket. Is it possible that he can really take back the resources given to him casually? Then take a look. These naked threats to Elder Agni. What's more, Elder Lihuo left such a bad impression on him when they first met. Xiao Xian sneered in his heart. Miss, this is a matter between me and this disciple, why don't you interrupt? Elder Lihuo's face darkened when he saw someone doing bad things. How could Xiao Xian have a good face? Although he has never really seen the benefits of Daolan Cave, he also understands that the cultivation resources that Wu Meng values so much are naturally no small matter. As long as someone stronger appears, you must hand over this Lindong mansion honestly. Instead, Xiao Xian just sneered and didn't take it to heart at all. In his heart, not to mention Elder Lihuo, even Dean Kanglong might not have that much majesty. Xiao Xian smiled slightly. Obviously quite precious. I think the master is more reliable, so you should keep this elixir yourself, Elder. Third grade Taoist spirit pill. I wonder what Elder Lihuo can come up with to make me give up Daolin Cave Mansion. As long as you swallow one piece, you can greatly improve your understanding of the Great Road. It will have many benefits for practitioners in the spiritual realm. After saying these words, Elder Lihuo's face instantly darkened. For such people. In fact, he also understood that what Elder Lihuo said might be worthy of belief, but King Hua Academy could not look too ugly. At this time, he also figured out that those words Xiao Xian said just now were actually meant to tease him. I hope you have enough courage to face the challenge of being a professor, Elder Lihuo said disdainfully. Don't think that as long as you become a professor at our King Hua College, you can enjoy Daolin Cave once and for all. Is there anyone more powerful than me? Is this a matter? At most, he is now stronger than him. Xiao Xian, I think it's better to listen to Elder Wu Meng. After Long Ruoxiu heard Xiao Xian's words, she was also stunned and quickly persuaded him. Let's wait and see. The round elixir exudes an alluring aroma of elixir. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 639. After the conflict with Elder Lihuo. Although he was reluctant, he still reluctantly brought Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu to Daolin Cave in the end. What surprised Xiao Xian was. At the entrance of Daolin Cave, he unexpectedly saw Mu Xiaolong from Bai Sheng's lineage and Wang Ralong from Wang Ao's lineage. These two guys were actually preparing to go into Daolin Cave Mansion. Obviously he wants to enjoy the cultivation bonus inside. This point made Xiao Xian and the others understand a lot. No wonder Elder Lihuo prevented them from entering Daolin Cave in every possible way. It turned out that he was planning to give Daolin Cave to someone else. This is a bit ridiculous. Could it be possible that, as an elder in charge of King Hua Academy's cultivation resources, he actually stole them and secretly gave them to the disciples of the sect for use? Isn't this the same as committing suicide? Xiao Xian didn't believe that Elder Lihuo did this just because he saw that Wang Ralong and Mu Xiaolong were talented. Most likely a lot of benefits were extracted from it. In this way, it can prove something. At least, it can be proven that Elder Lihuo has colluded with Wang Ao's lineage and Bai Sheng's lineage, and perhaps there are some bad deals in private. Why are you? After Long Ruoxiu saw Wang Ralong and Mu Xiaolong, her face was also livid, and she couldn't help but ask Elder Lihuo, Elder Lihuo, if I know correctly, these two people have not been approved by the college, but why can they come here? Is it possible that the academy's training resources can be used by others at will? Humph, Long Ruoxiu, don't be too arrogant. You don't need to take care of where we go to practice. If you have the ability, why don't you go find Dean Kanglong? Wang Ralong said disdainfully, not to mention that Dean Kanglong is currently in retreat. Even if you can find it, I'm afraid there will be no good results in the end. You, Long Ruoxiu suddenly became angry. Well, Miss Long, you misunderstood. We just came to take a look, and we didn't go into practice. Mu Xiaolong had always admired Long Ruoxiu, but he was unwilling to argue with her directly. Since you are here to take a look, you actually brought so many gifts. Xiao Xian glanced at the various cultivation resources in the hands of Wang Ralong, Mu Xiaolong, and others. It's none of your business. We are here to see Miss Long. These are just gifts. Originally, Wang Ralong and the others planned to be tough. But the next second, a man wearing a moon-white gown appeared here. It was Dean Kanglong. Dean Kanglong. Why are you here? Seeing the latter, Elder Lihuo was also a little shocked. On weekdays, his place is definitely Qingshui Yamen. Apart from the academy disciples who receive rewards, almost no one comes here. But now why is Dean Kanglong here in person? What is this operation? Is it possible that Dean Kanglong knew that he secretly handed over Daolin Cave to others? Thinking of this, Elder Lihuo suddenly started sweating profusely. If Dean Kanglong really knew what he was doing, it might still cause trouble. What happened? Kanglong looked at Elder Lihuo and looked a little confused. Why are there so many people here? This. When I get back to the Dean, there are 2 new students, Xiaoxian and Long Ruoxiu, coming to receive Daolin Cave Mansion, so it's a bit chaotic. Elder Kanglong frowned slightly. Kanglong took advantage of the situation and said, if 2 geniuses can obtain such a cave, they will definitely be able to progress further in their future cultivation. Is that so? Neither arrogant nor impetuous, neither humble nor arrogant. At this time, even Elder Lihuo next to him felt a little embarrassed. This is Wang Rolong, and this is Mu Xiaolong. They are both leaders of the younger generation of our Qinghua Academy, and they are the top disciples of Wang Ao's lineage and Bai Sheng's lineage. Speaking of Wang Rolong and Mu Xiaolong, Elder Lihuo's face was obviously smiling even more. It doesn't matter, young people should have some motivation to practice. Kanglong was stunned for a moment and seemed a little surprised by Xiaoxian's reaction, but he continued, after all, our Qinghua Academy is also well known in the Mingzhou realm. The Academy. What the Dean said is absolutely true. I'm here to see you today, Kanglong said straightforwardly. I heard that in this professor selection, 2 geniuses were selected among the freshmen. I saw it today, and it seems pretty good. After all, if you really want to talk about it, Elder Lihuo just said that Wang Rolong and Mu Xiaolong are the first among the younger generation, but now, Daolin Cave Mansion does not belong to them. Say it. Although Qinghua College does seem to have a lot of reputation in the Mingzhou realm, if it really comes down to it, as the Dean, you should also have a humble heart. I don't dare. Xiaoxian couldn't figure out what kind of medicine was sold in Kanglong gourd for a while, and he didn't dare to agree directly. Such an attitude. That's what the Dean said. Xiaoxian and Long Ruoxiu handed over their hands at the same time. However, judging from what Xiaoxian learned, Kanglong was aloof when facing his own students, but extremely humble when facing the elders of the Jinjing dynasty. I see. Regarding this explanation, Kanglong didn't ask any more questions. There was still a smile on his face, but this time he was obviously restrained. Kanglong couldn't help but take a closer look at Xiaoxian and Long Ruoxiu. So, you 2 are here to receive Daolin Cave Mansion today. So, this time, Daolin Cave will be given to these 2 people. Elder Lihuo explained quickly. It is difficult to say that he is a promising Dean. As the Dean, although he didn't want to get entangled in trivial matters, he still raised his eyebrows and said, then what do these 2 do? Isn't this a slap in the face? If I report back to the Dean, there are some things we did during the selection of professors that may not have worked very well. Ahem. Wang Rolong and Mu Xiaolong looked a little embarrassed. So, Daolin Cave Mansion is assigned to them this time. 2 professors from Wu Meng's lineage. Yes, this is Xiaoxian and this is Long Ruoxiu. They are professors selected by the freshmen. They are all from the Wu Meng lineage, Elder Lihuo introduced bravely. Xiaoxian and Long Ruoxiu were stunned and nodded in agreement. Only in this way can Qinghua Academy become stronger and go further. As the Dean of Qinghua College, he has traveled across the underworld for decades, so he can naturally see that the situation is not that simple. For a moment, Wang Rolong and Mu Xiaolong's faces were as embarrassed as they could be, and they couldn't even speak for a while. That's surprising. However, in Xiaoxian's view, it was inappropriate for Kanglong to say more. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 640. After thinking about these things, Xiaoxian couldn't help but glance at Kanglong, feeling something was wrong in his heart. He found that Dean Kanglong seemed a little dissatisfied with him. What are you going to do? Looking at what you said, it seems like you really plan to be this professor? Are you a little too confident? At this time, Wang Ralong came over and said in a low voice, in my opinion, you are not qualified to be this professor at all. Hearing this is a very clear provocation. Before Xiao Xian spoke, Long Ruoxiu beside him felt a little uncomfortable. What do you mean by this? Is it possible that you are not convinced by the selection of professors in the college? You were defeated in public at that time. So what if you lose in public? As long as the dean is willing, you can give me the professor's resources at any time. Wang Ralong said sadly, so, don't think that just because you have won the professor selection, you can do whatever you want. What nonsense are you talking about? Long Ruoxiu was a little horrified in her heart, but she still said angrily with a stern face. Ah ha ha ha. Long Ruoxiu was about to scold something. Wang Ralong laughed, said nothing more, cupped his hands to Elder Kang Long and Li Huo, turned around and left. This scene made Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu's faces look a little solemn. The two of them can roughly understand it. This Wang Ralong is definitely not someone who talks casually. Based on his performance, it is obvious that he still has some secret information that ordinary people don't know. And now, this guy can actually say such things. This somewhat surprised Xiao Xian. He could understand that Wang Ralong and Mu Xiaolong obviously had some energy to appear in this place at this moment. Perhaps Wang Ao or Bai Sheng should have made some efforts behind the scenes. Only under such circumstances could Elder Li Huo take care of him like this, and even Dean Kang Long stood up. Wait. Kang Long? Kang Long Empire? For some reason, an idea suddenly came to Xiao Xian's mind at this time. Qinghua College is obviously on the territory of the Qinghua Empire, but the name of the dean of this college is Kang Long? Is this just a coincidence? Or is there some reason behind this that ordinary people don't know? Xiao Xian couldn't help but take another look at Kang Long, as if he felt something unusual. Could it be that the people in the Qinghua Empire didn't notice this? Or is this something everyone knows about? After thinking about this, Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask Long Ruoxiu, Ruoxiu, it seems that getting Daolan Cave Mansion is really a twists and turns. Good things come in hard times, this is normal, Long Ruoxiu explained. Maybe so. Xiao Xian was non-committal. It is a good thing for young people to have the opportunity of Daolan Cave, but, your future achievements still depend on your own abilities. Kang Long looked at Xiao Xian, it depends on whether you have got the courage. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Dean. Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu naturally thanked them. Kang Long also glanced at Elder Li Huo and said, in that case, let's send these two young disciples to Daolan Cave Mansion. We should treat all disciples with the same attitude, do you know? Yes. Hearing Kang Long's words, Elder Li Huo nodded quickly. You two are coming with me. After seeing off Dean Kang Long respectfully. Having said that. Yes. After just glancing at Xiao Xian and the other two, he turned around and left. Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu also knew that Elder Li Huo might already hate them both. In this case, he had nothing to say. What's wrong? Is it possible that the reward he received for his hard work in the selection of professors was not his own? Why aren't you in high spirits? After hearing what Xiao Xian said. Although they now have Daolan Cave, it does not mean that he can always occupy this cave. If that's the case, isn't it a bit too much? Doesn't it mean that all his previous efforts in selecting professors were in vain? Obviously they should all be professors from Qinghua College. However, when these professors saw Xiao Xian and Long Ruoxiu, all of their faces looked a little strange. Didn't you hear what Elder Li Huo said just now? Xiao Xian shook his head, he actually said that this Lin Cave Mansion is only temporary. Long Ruoxiu also nodded slightly and continued, maybe, after all, we are only at the middle and high levels of the spiritual god realm. Among the professors of Qinghua College, we are not very strong, so Elder Li Huo is like this. Tell me. Elder Orion turned around and looked at Xiaoxian and Long Ruoxiu. You two, it seems that your luck is really not very good. Can't you see that this time Dean Kanglong comes here? I'm afraid he also wants to give you a chance. It's such a chance, who knew you wouldn't have such luck? Originally, Long Ruoxiu was still excitedly observing the Daolan cave in front of her, but the next second, when she saw Xiaoxian's serious face, she was a little confused. Soon we came to a place with strong Tao Qi. The three of them walked together. Long Ruoxiu, the eldest daughter of the Long family, was stunned by the scene and couldn't help but sigh. Being able to build a cave in this deep mountain means that you have a lot of foundation and strength to go to Qinghua Academy. On the other hand, Xiaoxian, who was on the side, looked a little more curious when he saw this scene. He heard clearly just now. It's really amazing work. Hee. These two Daolan caves are yours. You can only strive for something like opportunity by yourself, because others can't give it to you, right? Xiaoxian was neither humble nor arrogant. I've noticed it too, but really speaking, this is not something we can change now. We can only take it one step at a time. Elder Agni has already said it. As for how long you can keep it, that's your own business. This is a very interesting thing. Elder Agni was obviously dissatisfied with the current situation. You're not very old, but you're quite arrogant. Elder Lihuo glanced at Xiaoxian. However, your arrogance may not be of any benefit. In the end, it can only harm others and yourself. Elder Lihuo tapped his fingers, two fiery red streams of light suddenly appeared, and two caves with strong Tao Qi opened at the foot of the mountain in front of him. I don't understand why two new students at the intermediate and high levels of the spiritual god realm came here. I saw that under the lingering strong Tao Qi, it almost condensed into substance in this place. The people coming and going were all high-level spiritual god realm, and some had even reached the peak of the spiritual god realm. Who knows when someone will snatch it away?